expected of them. Hello, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us on Your Viewpoint. I am Rotimi at Akintunde. Welcome to the show. This program is sponsored by Integrated Communication Services and, of course, created to provide possible solutions to societal issues around us. Today, we're looking at what is very important to national development. The last time we talked about national development and religion, but this time around, we're going to be looking at how much loyalty we have for this country, the amount of love we have for this country, how attached are we to this country, and how we can use all of that to contribute to national interest or national development, as it were. So today, we're talking about national pride, how to encourage national pride and patriotism. I have a guest in the studio to do justice to this issue, a legal practitioner all the way from Ibadan. He joins us this time. That's Barrister Wasiu Oteniara. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much, moderator, Mr. Rotimi. I'm so pleased to be with you.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so right away, we're going to be talking about national pride and patriotism. A lot of persons have said that there's a little difference between national pride and patriotism. But then before we look at how these two subject matters would affect us as a people and the importance it has on us, we need to understand what it is. Can you help us with that? National pride, patriotism. What are the similarities? What are the differences?
Once again, thank you, moderator. The words national pride and patriotism are keywords that are quite similar, but with some differentials, so to speak. The keywords that are related to these two are the words relating to faith, words relating to faith, hope, and love. Respectfully, when we want to look at this from the point of view of the Bible, I shall be referring to the Corinthians chapter 13, verse 13, which mention the three working words.
Okay.
Faith, hope, and love. And it is even said in Corinthians that of all these words, the greatest is love. So there's no way we could talk about national pride and patriotism without really attaching these three key words of faith, hope, and then love. But in order to establish a dichotomy or differential, so to speak, is that one may want to look at nationalism alongside these three words, these key words that are working within the two factors, faith, love, and hope. We can look at nationalism as being holistic, so to speak. Nationalism as a point of view of from the nation, the love, the faith, the hope you have for your nation. But if you look at patriotism, you may want to look at it from an individualistic or from your own person alongside your countryman, another individual. So that is just the thin line or the dichotomy that can be established between the two.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Let's look at people at home watching, and of course they want to. I know this is an interesting topic.
Sure.
Concerning what is happening in our environment. A lot of persons would have opinions about this, and of course at a particular time in the course of this show we would of course be showing what people have to say on this, people on the streets. Now let's look at how patriotic people are from your perspective, from what you've been around for some time now, back then, now, if we want to compare the times, all right, how would you talk about patriotism on the part of Nigerians? What's your opinion from people you have worked with, from people you have moved with, and all of that? How would you rate the level of patriotism in Nigeria?
Thank you very much, moderator. Honestly speaking, the love. When we talk about patriotism, like you did say at the introductory part, in order to enable us to understand the keywords of patriotism and nationalism, let us always carry along the keywords of faith, love, and hope. What faith, what love, what hope do we have for Nigeria as a country or as an entity, and do we have for fellow countrymen? Seriously speaking, from my own individual perspective, if we look at what we have on the ground now in the country, Nigeria, vis-a-vis what we used to have in the past, I think Nigerians in the past, with due respect to the youths and the Nigerians of that we have, the youths of these days, one can say, probably with a little fear of contradictions, that the caliber or the quality of Nigerians we have in the past demonstrated more patriotism and nationalism.
What would have been the reason?
I think the reason per se is that we look at it in terms of a cause-effect relationship. Cause-effect relationship. If you give something to somebody, you expect something in return. Like it is believed in the past that, with due respect, government contributes more to citizens in the past. But in recent times or these days, the contribution of the government towards the citizen, it still goes on. The government is still trying their best, probably because of the dwindling resources of the country, alongside the over-expanding or the over-driven population that we have. Probably the mega resources we have, it's not allowing the government or the resources to go around. So that has, a lot of people expect a lot of things from the government. Like in the past, immediately you leave the school, you have a good job, you have a good car, you have a good house and whatever. So naturally, because the system caters to you, the system gives you good things that enable you to survive in life, you tend to demonstrate hope. You tend to believe in the system. You tend to demonstrate faith. You tend to demonstrate love for the system. But unlike the present dispensation, probably that would justify the reaction or the action of the youths of the Nigerians of today, the youths of today, so to speak, what they seem to get from the country or from the government, there are no, the jobs does not go around, the jobs are not sufficient. And then when the people leave school, even in terms of social amenities, electricity, water, and whatever, they are not as good, or they are not as forthcoming as they used to be in the past. So that seems to dampen the morale of the present day Nigerians. And at the end of the day, or by way of repercussions, it tends to affect their patriotism and nationalism for the system. So people in those days, people are proud, patriotic to talk about their country, about the government or whatever. But this time around, or these days, it appears that because the government is not really giving much to the people, because the resources are not there.
Sorry, can we say that we do not have a good number of people that are still patriotic today?
Sure, we wouldn't say that. There are so many people. We have a population of about or slightly over 200 million in this people. It would be out of place to say all the 200 million Nigerians are not patriotic. No, we are talking in terms of a slight majority, or the law of large numbers, so to speak. Or we are trying to talk about the youths who are the future of this nature. Because when we talk in terms of development, we talk in terms of economic development or whatever, we should always be quick to talk about what we call intergenerational equity. If the country is good today and now we're having it very, very okay, what is the possibility that the future generation will equally have it good and better? That is what we call intergenerational equity. If we have it nice and good today, and the people coming in future do not have it that good, then their nationalism, patriotism may tend to dwindle. The love, faith, and hope they have to the country may dwindle and may not be anything to talk about.
But despite the fact that the expectations of the people
not been met,
have not been met,
sure,
and all of that, does it stop them from having hope in the development of the country, or still believing that the country can be better? Because even if the government has not been able to do everything, which we know that, Nigeria is one of those countries that are still developing, should it affect our patriotism? What should it be?
It actually should not in the long run.
Okay.
On a short-term basis or analysis, so to speak, it may. But in the long run, for positive thinkers, it should not. Mr. Moderator, in this at this juncture, I may want to look at it from the perspective of a scientific manager, especially Frederick Taylor,
okay,
who in his theory of the theory of scientific management, there is what we call the theory of a mental revolution, so to speak. Frederick Taylor, in his theory of mental revolution, advocated that the people should always should think less of sharing the cake. They should revolutionize their mentality to the point of baking the cake. That when a large cake is being baked, then the issue of sharing will not be a problem, because there's a large cake, there's something big for everybody to go around. That's the theory of mental revolution by Frederick Taylor in scientific management. So the dimension now, or the thinking now more in Nigeria, is what do we get from government? Everybody, we are not thinking of baking a large cake, we are thinking of sharing. But if we follow the doctrine of a mental revolution by Frederick Taylor in scientific management, and we think of baking a large cake, then the problem of sharing will not be there. And obviously, by way of a repercussion or consequence, so to speak, then there will be more love, there will be more hope, there will be more faith, which will buttress or increase the level of patriotism and the nationalism we have in the country.
So to a large extent, what would you say have changed the minds of people? Could this be as a result of education? Is education having a very strong influence on our level of patriotism? Because all of these things you're saying, to a large extent, you are learned.
Sure.
And that is why you know this.
Sure.
So in the area of education, would you say education is a reason why some may not even understand what patriotism is all about? But at the same time, we are also considering the fact that we have culture. And of course, in our culture, we understand that, okay, people are being taught, to, of course, love one another, love the society, and all of that. So, to what extent would you say education has a strong influence on making people patriotic or otherwise?
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Education certainly is a very, very strong and important factor around the world that influences behavioral tendencies, people's thoughts, people's behavior, and it also affects love, hope, and faith, and consequently nationalism and then patriotism. But respectfully, I want to submit that education will not be everything in terms of patriotism, because if we are talking about education per se, it means that we are saying that the people that are not educated, don't they have don't they manifest love, faith, and hope for their country? Don't they have patriotism? Are they not nationalistic, or don't they have national pride? So to that extent, we may say education exposes you, it modifies and furnishes your thoughts. So it makes you to know what is right and what is wrong. What do you expect from government as a central entity? Government, in law per se, there is what we call this principle of social, the principle of social doctrine. It is believed that all of us contributed our individual rights to a central authority called government. And when we have contributed to this, we've contributed our rights, individual right, to the central authority called government. The government is now supposed or be in charge to moderate, control, manage all our needs and whatever. So to some extent, Mr. Modus, I will agree with you. Education as a monster may go a long way to determine your thoughts, your behavioral tendencies, and what you believe. But that is not to say that people are not educated, don't have hope, faith, and love for their country and for fellow countrymen. Okay,
well, we would have to go on a break now. When we're back, we're still going to talk about what education can do on people. Don't forget that we still have people that are educated but are not patriotic. So we still need to look at it on the other hand. Tosin Maliki has something for us that has to do with Kola Nut, the benefit and some other things about that. We will be back after this break. If you have messages, you can drop them on our comment section, on our social media pages. Don't go away.
Did you know that kola nut is used as a flavoring agent in different types of soda drinks, which is where the name cola was derived? Kola nut, also known as bitter kola, is usually consumed in its natural state and can be processed for various medicinal purposes. Mrs. Jane Chinolo, a dietary health nutritionist, emphasized that the active ingredient in kola nut, such as caffeine and potassium, helps to boost the energy in the body and also helps in fighting some common diseases amongst the old, such as arthritis, type 2 diabetes, and glaucoma. Here are 5 major health benefits of kola nut. It increases circulation. Consuming kola nut boosts oxygenation by stimulating increased circulation. Improved oxygenation benefits many parts of the body, including but not limited to extremities, internal organs, skin, and the brain. Better circulation to the skin keeps it healthier and younger looking for a longer period of time. For the internal organs, it implies vitality and overall improved health. It boosts the immune system. The chemical components of the kola nut can prevent the incubation of certain life-threatening bacteria in the body. In this way, it can combat a range of respiratory conditions, such as bronchitis. Furthermore, it is known to minimize the risk of developing tuberculosis and meningitis. It improves metabolism. One of the biggest reasons why caffeine is consumed in such large amounts is because it acts as a stimulant that pushes a surge of energy that enables the body to go into action at almost a moment's notice. The kola nut, with its abundance of caffeine, can have the same effect on the human body. People who suffer from low metabolism can consume this nut to improve metabolism and the health of the heart. When consumed in moderation, the kola nut enables the body to burn and consume energy optimally and stabilizes heart rate. It improves gastrointestinal health. In their cultivation and consumption of the kola nut, people in African tribes believe that chewing the kola nut improves the regularity and quality of their bowel movements. The kola nut contains certain active ingredients that improve nutrient consumption in the body and also reduce inflammation and bloating, constipation, and cramping. It assists in weight loss. The kola nut can assist in losing weight in 2 ways. Caffeine has been known to suppress appetite, and it is available in abundance in the kola nut. Consuming a handful of it ensures that the body feels full for a longer period of time. However, there is a second way in which kola nut enables weight loss. It has been closely linked with fat-burning properties. This could be due to its effect on improving the body's metabolism. In these ways, kola nuts are ideal dietary supplements in a weight loss regimen.
All right, thank you so much for staying there. You're still watching Your Viewpoint right here on 98 Channel 10, Lagos. I have Barrister Wasiu Oteniara, and we've been talking about national pride and patriotism. Before we went on that break, we talked about education, if that can, in a way, have influence on people, talking about their level of patriotism. He talked about the fact that education is expected to expose you to know better. But this time around, I would like him to talk about educated people that may not be patriotic before we go to the Japa syndrome. All right, so what do you have to say to that? One can be educated, but to what extent can education really bring out patriotism in you? Considering cultural knowledge that you have, or the cultural attachment you have, you know, a number of people, we came from different homes, so to speak, and cultures like that. And in most cultures, we are taught to, you know, like I said before, taught to love our society and all of that. In fact, there's a saying that you don't think of what the country is going to do for you. You think of what you are going to do for your country. What you have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. When we look at our cultural background basically emanates from our individual nuclear families. The culture and the behavioral tendencies and the lessons that are passed from father to the children, the discipline that are passed. But eventually, when the citizenry get exposed to education, education per se tends to modify or change culture. Education tends to modify or change the culture. Our culture has been there, and which we try to follow. But once we are exposed to education, which is the monster around the world, it modifies and changes your culture. And if you look at the issue of national pride and patriotism that we talk about, the government are on its own in terms of even educating the public what national pride and patriotism should be. We have the national anthem, we have the national pledge. In the national anthem, it's saying that arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call obey, to serve with love and might, with strength and faith. And if you look at the national pledge, it says, I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest. To serve Nigeria with all my strength. Serve Nigeria with all my strength. To defend our unity and uphold our honor and glory. So help me God. You can see, finally or ultimately, before calling on God Almighty to help them in achieving all these things. All these things are the things the government have done in terms of educating the people, in terms of defining per se, systematically, by way of education, what patriotism, what national pride should be. Serve the country with all my strength, defend our unity and uphold our honor. Those are very strong words relating to patriotism and the nationalism of the country. We then went further to top it up by calling on God Almighty to help us in order to be able to achieve these things. So the government have done that by way of also educating the people. So culture has been there nationally, naturally, from the nuclear family, from the society. But when education comes up, education now helps a person to be able to dissect, to be able to differentiate and establish a dichotomy between what I've been told or what really should be. So you'll be able to say, no matter what you are taught in culture, no matter what the government has preached, both in the national anthem and in the national and the national anthem and pledge. But when you are exposed to high level of education, you have been able to read different theories, different books by different people, then you'll be able to come out with some kind of independent thought on your own to be able to establish what really is patriotism, what really is nationalism. What is the justification? Why am I supposed to be patriotic to my nation? Why am I supposed to be a nationalistic individual? So these are issues that come up. And don't forget, the issue of reciprocity that I earlier talked about is always there. There's the cause and expectations, the cause and effect relationship. If you have it good with the government, then the tendency for you is to be able to want to contribute more, to do things. There are expectations from the government. The government is supposed to provide security, give you faith, give you progress, give you hope, and a lot of things within the system. And on the part of individuals too, the individuals to have the Constitution have provided some rights for individuals. The Constitution have given you the freedom to speak, as established in Section 35. Section 35, 36 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended. There are various rights and freedoms that have been given to individuals. The freedom to speak, freedom of expression, freedom to own, freedom to your right to liberty, freedom of speech, and all other speech that has been given to we call them inalienable rights. They are rights given to you as a human being. And if you look at that, then there are also some duties that are expected from you. You are supposed to be patriotic to your country, Nigeria. You are supposed to uphold and respect the Constitution. You are supposed to show love and camaraderie to fellow citizens alongside other duties that are expected from individuals. So if you really look at these key words, Mr. Moderator, the nationalism, national pride, they are issues that really affect Nigerian citizenry. But basically, we have to look at the fundamental principle of reciprocity that attach to it. If you have it good, you want to deliver good. If you are not having it in terms of your expectation, then you will want to draw back in terms of delivery.
All right, let's look at a number of scenarios. a situation whereby people try to be patriotic sometimes. They want to help. Maybe something happened to someone by the roadside, and they are trying to help, and they get to the agencies, the law enforcement agents, and they say, okay, you have to do this, and it looks like you're getting into trouble. Now, don't you think situations like that can discourage people? I would like us to look at what are those things that can discourage people from being patriotic, such that, okay, when something happens around them, something that concerns the society, you know, as long as it doesn't affect their household, they try to withdraw. They tend to withdraw. What do you have to say about some sort of discouragement that we need to work on as a people?
Yes, Mr. Moderator. Like the keywords have said, we need to have more love, we need to have hope in our system, and we need to have faith. What is faith per se? Faith is what you don't see, but you believe in. Like the moderator said, there are some things that discourage patriotism and national pride within the citizenry. Just like you have said that, naturally speaking, by natural instinct, you tend to love a fellow human being. You intend to help. Like when there is an accident scene, some people, there is an accident, there are some people who are not yet dead, but they are still there. You could quickly take them to the hospital for attention. But there is this factor that it is believed that if you take a person to the hospital to be treated, an accident victim, and you do not come with a police report, it is either they do not treat that person at that hospital, requesting for police report, or sometimes even if the matter has been reported to the law enforcement agencies, you may be asked to write down a report, and then you'll be asked, you come tomorrow, come next tomorrow, to follow up these things. We want you to give evidence, how it happened and whatever. So individuals believe that the help they have demonstrated ordinarily through their human instinct is working against them. So that is one of the reasons why people tend to draw back in terms of assisting or in terms of giving help. So at the end of the day, it will be reduced to whatever they can do to their immediate family members, the nuclear family, their nuclear family members.
Okay.
But nationalism and national pride and nationalism go far above that. It goes far above what you can do for your wife and children, the nuclear family member. It goes up to what you can do for your society. It goes up to what you can do for your country as a nation. To serve my nation, to serve Nigeria diligently. So, but when you have some tendencies or things that tend to discourage your person, it wastes your time, it affects your personality as an individual, and you believe that when the first step you render in the first instance, you are faced with a lot of hindrances and issues that make you regret rendering that help in the first instance. Then people may want to draw back. The asking of the police report at the hospital, the police tend to bother you by asking you to write various statements as a result of your being present at the incidents, the occasion of the accident and whatever. People ordinarily feel discouraged about this type of thing, and I think the system should be more modified. There is now some modification in that respect, trying to encourage the hospitals that whenever there is an accident victim, even if the victim is a victim of gunshot, which may be suspected to be robbery or whatever, the person should be treated first, at least save that life first, and let's see what will happen at the end of the day.
Is it possible for political parties, in a way, in the course of trying to, you know what it is with our party system? In Nigeria, we operate a multi-party system, and of course, in the course of saying that, okay, this is our goal, this is what we want to achieve, can it in any way affect people's behavior towards patriotism? You know, when we talk about patriotism, you want to agree that oneness is also part of what we are talking about. But when it comes to distribution of resources, of course, people would have to gather, you know, in groups and all of that.
And unite.
Yes. So, and in that regard, we talk about politics. So, do you see politics as one of those things? If not well managed, does it affect people's behavior towards patriotism, such that people would just be concerned about what they would benefit?
Sure, Mr. Moderator. In other climes, whereby politics is practiced according to the dictates of an ideology,
Okay.
people you have it whether in terms of a capitalistic ideology, socialism, communism, and then what have you. Politics and the action and the intents of political parties are ideology based. But in our own climb here, you discover that politics influences our nationalism and patriotism in a manner that would not say it's not too positive, so to speak.
Okay.
Because the ultimate, in terms of what political parties set out to achieve in Nigeria, ultimately, Mr. Moderator, is to win election. And why do they want to win election? Is to have access to the national resources and share it. So when people want to share national resources, they tend to reduce their acrimony and their acrimony or fight when it gets to that level. So when it comes to the issue of politics, the way it has been handled in this climate, Mr. Moderator, it does not promote effective nationalism or national pride.
And so how should
because it is being practiced in an egoistic manner. It is I and I alone.
In that
we
regard,
and we alone, and not for the betterment of all of us.
Okay, in that regard, how should it be balanced? As much as people try to fight for resources, for the distribution of resources or sharing of resources, at the same time, how do we ensure that it does not affect the fact that, okay, we are all looking towards national development. We are looking for the betterment of the country. How should it be balanced?
Simple, Mr. Moderator. Fairness, equality, the fear of God, the love for fellow human beings, the love for the country, and we will revolutionize our thinking, like I said earlier on, that our thinking should now be based on baking bigger cake, baking a larger and bigger cake, and not scrambling and fighting on sharing something that is small. If we revolutionize our thinking, as it has been said a moment ago, then we are fair. We are fair in our thought. We allow justice, equity, and justice to reign in all that we do. The love for fellow human beings, the love for the system, we allow all these things to prevail. It will reduce to the barest minimum or to a very, very manageable level if it will not completely eliminate the acrimony or the problems that are associated from in politics to the issue of patriotism and nationalism.
All right, we'll go on this break. We're still talking about encouraging national pride and patriotism, and we've been able to look at possible reasons for that, and we'll get to talk about what can be done to ensure that people can still be patriotic, so to speak. But of course, it's going to be a decision.
Enlightenment.
Yes, a personal decision and all of that. But then we would take this break and we will be back. We've got something for you in the world of sport, and right after that, people on the street had something to say about this national pride and patriotism. Please go nowhere.
Football's biggest governing council, FIFA, introduced the World Cup tournament for women to boost female interest in sport and promoting women's game. Women's Football World Cup takes place in every 4 years since 1992, when the first edition of the competition was held. The inaugural edition of the FIFA Women's World Cup was held in China in 1991. The tournament was popular as FIFA Women's World Championship then. United States is the most successful team of Women's World Cup finals as they won 4 trophies held in 8 championships. They hold the longest streak of 3 successive FIFA Women's World Cup finals as they appeared in 2011, 2015 and 2019 finals. America's Kristen Lilly played the most number of matches in the Women's World Cup as she represented her country in 30 games. America's Christy Pierce is the oldest female footballer ever to play in FIFA World Cup match at the age of 40 years. The Women's World Cup trophy is made of sterling silver clad in 23-karat yellow and white gold. It weighs 4.6 kg and is 47 cm tall. FIFA introduced FIFA Champions Badge in 2007. The badge is worn by the champion team until the winners of the next World Cup has been decided. The 2023 Women's World Cup schedule is set as the FIFA tournament prepares to head to Australia and New Zealand for the first time. It will be the first FIFA Women's World Cup to have more than one host nation and also be the first senior World Cup of either gender to be held across multi-confederations. This is the 9th Women's World Cup in history, and for the first time in Women's World Cup history, the 2023 edition will have an expanded field of 32 teams competing across 64 games. The tournament is scheduled to kick off on July 20th, 2023 in Auckland, New Zealand, before concluding on August 20th in Sydney, Australia. USA will enter the latest Women's World Cup as defending champions, while England are chasing their first title, having been crowned 2022 European champions. That expansion means more matches will be played than ever before, with 64 games to take place across Australia and New Zealand. With 2 extra groups added to the mix for 2023, only the top 2 teams were advanced to the knockout stages. In 2019, the 4 best third-place sides also progressed to the round of 16, but that won't be the case in 2023.
My name is Engineer Elvis
Sure, Nigerians, they are really patriotic and hardworking citizens. Considering the economic environment now, we see that they are still moving, they are going stronger every day. They are patriotic. Every Nigerians are patriotic. Actually, an average Nigerian understood the meaning of patriotic. Being patriotic is something that it's all encompassing. It's what has to come from the leadership and the environment. You understand? They are patriotic. They understand how to be patriotic. Yes, one, there must be justice. That's from the leadership. There must be economic justice. The economic injustices must be addressed. That is, the standard of living and the way Nigerians are living should be improved by the government. There must be good governance. With good governance and purposeful leadership, I think this will encourage an enabling environment for the people, for the citizens to believe in their own country, to believe in their own nation, and add their own quota for the development of the country.
They are not. They are not. Not most of them, because majority tends not to be educated, and those that are educated, they don't know the meaning. You see, to be patriotic means to be loyal, to be faithful, and to be honest. But most Nigerians, with what is going on around the country now, don't make them to be patriotic, so to say. What needs to be done is government needs to encourage people, to educate them, to give them a dividend of democracy, make them understand what it means to be patriotic.
Yeah, I would say to some extent, though not, let's say 80% patriotic. Yes, they do, because from my own experience, I think situation of things makes some people to be unpatriotic. You understand? Because take for instance like what is happening in our society now with people, with the way things are going on, greed and nonchalant attitude because of the economic situation. So people are frustrated. So most times it's not like some of them, most of these people you see doing things they are not supposed to be doing. They are doing it because they are frustrated because of the situation of things that is going on. You get it? Like sometimes I look at our youth now, some of them are jobless. We have a lot of graduates. imagine that kind of person, and you know, with the stress after school and all, you don't expect that kind of person, and you now come and tell the person, please, this is what you should do. You get it. Even if the person know that, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, but because there's another way to, like, okay, at least this one is going to give me food, then they tend to, like, you know, leave that aspect, and they want to go to something that is going to fuel them. Same thing that is affecting us now, like this political issue now that is going on. Some of us know that, oh, that this is not the right person, this is supposed to be the right person, but when money is involved, they tend to, like, oh, it's only the few that has that sense to do the needful. And for people to be encouraged, one thing is first, a proper awareness has to go round, because naturally there are some things that some people now they still, we lack awareness. You understand? We lack proper awareness. We need to do a proper awareness in terms of, like, let people be aware of some certain things, the importance of you doing these things, and the implication of you doing these things. You get it? Especially for those of our people, that those of us that are not educated. You understand? Those ones are also part of it.
Yeah, we have, but we are still very far from being completely patriotic. They understand it. They understand it because there is benefit in being patriotic. But due to our environment, the way we look at things, the way we reason, and that is why the patriotism is not being, you understand, exists here. To be proud of Nigeria started from the leaders. If you are a mother or a father, if you treat your children very well, you take good care of them, they'll be proud of you. But if you are a mother or a father, you don't treat your kid very well, they will not be proud of you. You understand? If the leader is being, if the leader is okay, the leadership is okay, they provide employment, they provide security, and everything is there. They provide the necessary amenities for the citizen. Somebody will be proud to say, yes, I'm a Nigerian, I'm a proud Nigerian.
My name is Engineer every summer.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for being there. We're still talking about national pride and patriotism. We're talking about how to encourage those things. This time around, we're going to be taking some messages. If you have messages, if you have comments, be sure to drop them on our social media pages at @your_viewpoint, and of course be able to get your messages. We have this from Tumininu Ola from Alagomeji. Says Nigeria is a great country. What we need is a patriotic leader. What we need are patriotic leaders that will serve as role model to Nigerians. Everyone is fending for himself. Things are hard now as we speak. The last thing in the mind of an average Nigerian is being patriotic. What's your opinion about that? That sounds harsh.
Yes.
You agree with this?
Yes. He or she that has contributed has made this a point. The morale, Mr. Moderator, is really low now, like I said earlier on. Okay. And there still has to be from the government, our religious leaders, and opinion and influence molders within the society. There is need for a lot of enlightenment to improve on the psychology and the physique of an average Nigerian, particularly the youths. They are the people that mattered most. Though it could be painful to some of us who had witnessed the good times, and we are seeing what is happening now. But some of them, the only comparison they have is the comparison with the outside world, which they are able to see through the internet and then whatever. And that is why, if sufficient enlightenment is not done, and that there should be what one will call the kind of new era. There should be a new system, the improved leadership, and a new system of government. Not only a new system of government with improved leadership, that we start doing things that will give the youths, that will give them faith in the system, give them hope for the future. It is with that we can be able to establish or draw love from their hearts to this system.
All right.
But seriously speaking, the morale of youth is really down now.
Okay.
I will accept that.
You want to say that's the reason for the Jaguar syndrome, that everybody has to move and all of that. And yes. Of course, you don't see that as having serious effect on our system.
It does, Mr. Moderator, it does. The Japa syndrome, that monster word that is now coming into our national dictionary, it is quite unfortunate. If we could now embrace in our national system the words like the Japa syndrome, you want to leave your country, you want to go away and face greener pastures there, then what do you intend? You believe that you do not contribute towards your country and you go out, who then contributes and improve upon your country? So you can see that medical doctors now go out of the country.
But do you really blame them?
They go out of the country. Even now, nurses, people in the science world go out of the. Even now, the teachers are not being encouraged to go to the UK. So if it gets to that level, then who develops who develops our own system here? But with improved leadership, serious development that the youth can see, serious development, they can see hope in the future. They can see genuine and serious faith, then natural and genuine hope and love can also be drawn from the youth.
All right,
and the better it will be for the future of this country.
Let's take more messages. We have this from Chidera Nweke. The truth is, as an individual, I don't know how being patriotic would help me in any way, and I am not proud of Nigeria until the leaders do the right thing. It is only the rich that can be patriotic, because they have everything they need to survive in this country. Gospel Eze, Nigerians are not really patriotic. Some don't even understand what it means to be patriotic. People who care less about patriotism feel it is of no benefit to them. I try to be patriotic to my country by being a law-abiding citizen. Patriotism helps to foster unity in the country. How do you react to that?
Yes. The example that comes to mind when we talk about patriotism fostering unity in the country, the example that immediately comes to mind is the issue of sports and football. Regardless of the fact that there is hunger or whatever in the land, when sports come up, football, Nigeria is playing another nation, we all come together and speak with one voice. We support our nation, Nigeria. We don't want to lose that match. You can see Nigerians demonstrating a high degree of patriotism, having pride in the nation. You can even see the dramatic personnel, the players fighting on the field to demonstrate nationalism, to show pride in this nation. They want to die on that field. They want to show as if their lives depend on the outcome of that match.
How do we convert that confidence
from that sport to other spheres of life?
Yes, other areas.
Mr. Moderator, like in my own mind too, everybody has been able to establish that patriotism and nationalism is seriously felt, and national pride is seriously felt in sports. But we are still trying to juxtapose how this can be shifted or can be manifested in other spheres of life, because it is not something that we can say. We can acquire by education, by enlightenment or whatever. Because if you look at it the way it works in sports, Mr. Moderator, it's based on instincts. It's a natural thing. Nigeria is playing. You are there. You forgo your food. But you forgo where you are going. You want to watch the match.
Do you think the same thing is happening in politics, but in different parties now? Do you think the same thing is happening there? Where you have a number of parties and you have a lot of people, saying, "Oh, this is what is going to happen. This is what we want." Do you think the same thing is happening?
It is not happening, because even the
or possibly the objective is different.
The objective is different. We have earlier talked about the issue of ideology. The politics in Nigeria is not issue based, it's not ideology based, and that is why we have seen a lot of things within the system, and that is why it is even difficult to manifest or transfer that patriotism that we earlier talked about in sport to other spheres of life in the country. Because a typical politician that manifests in a political party and whatever, they are very parochial or egoistic in their heart or in their thoughts and whatever. with due respect, they think less of the system. Their kind of patriotism or national pride is self-centered, so to speak. It is not national in nature. It is until when individuals that play politics tend to have genuine love, genuine hope, and genuine faith in the system.
Right there, let me quickly ask you this. How do you know someone who has genuine love? We're just going to digress a little.
Okay.
How do you know a leader that has genuine love for a country? From your experience.
Yes.
How would you know?
It's a...
Just one or two words.
Yes, it's psychological. You may not be able to know that and say it out, because it is often said that not even the devil knows the intention of a man. Because you cannot... William Shakespeare says that there's no art in Macbeth. William Shakespeare said there is no art to find the mind's construction on the face. What false art doth know, false face doth conceive. Whatever a person thinks in his heart, you cannot know it. Because when a person is harboring something devilish in his heart, his face will not manifest it.
So
things like that, how you can just know is that you can only prove to do it by doing it. When you tell people, I can do this, I can do this, I can do that, when you do it, you have manifested it. People can see it. They have faith in you. They have faith that you can do and you can achieve it. Then they also have hope that you can repeat it.
Now you're
There'll
talking
be a repeat
about
performance.
pedigree. You are talking about pedigree, your track record.
Yes.
What you've done in the past.
Yes.
So you say that is sufficient to determine a leader that can deliver, or a leader that has the love of the country, or has love for the country, so to speak.
How else do one determine it? It is what you can do what you have done, that people have seen, they have faith in it, they have hope that there can be a repeat performance if you so want it to be.
All right, we are going to be talking about this next week. We're going to be talking about identifying leaders that can deliver. Yes, that's going to be a discussion. That's just a hint of what is going to be happening next time on the show. Thank you so much. Before you go, what's your parting shot for Nigerians? Especially as we approach the 2023, this coming election.
Yes, I personally wish my country that I so love, and I wish us well in the coming election. I wish that we have good leaders that will emerge, that will serve the nation well, for Nigerians to be able to demonstrate, to achieve and demonstrate the spirit of nationalism and the national pride, patriotism, and what I wish the country that, and also wish to advise the youths who are the leaders of tomorrow. If the youths jack and get out of this country, is it the old men who will be there and will soon pass away that will come and establish and make the country better? I plead with the youths of this country to believe in this system. They should have serious hope and faith in this system and love this country, love Nigeria, give genuine love and hope to this country, and it will be well by God's grace.
All right, thank you so much. We've been speaking to legal practitioner, Barrister Wasiu Oteniara, who joined us at this time to talk about issues concerning national pride and patriotism, how we can encourage that and how it can help grow our system. Thank you so much for being there. In case you have questions, you have comments or contributions, you can reach out to us on our social media pages. The handle is at yourview_, yourview. And of course, we'll be able to get your messages. Thank you so much for being there. This is where we get to wrap it up. Be sure to join us next week. By God's grace, we'll be here again. This is Your Viewpoint. I am Rotimi. Akintunde. Bye for now.